I wanted to just get your sense of what qualities you think leaders, especially in the customer experience space, need to have and to cultivate to stay ahead rather than let themselves be overtaken by this wave of change.
I think the first thing is for you to have a positive outlook to change itself. Change is something that there's nothing you can do about it. It's going to come. There will always be need to be met. There will always be ways to improve on things. So you must be prepared for change. You must envisage change. And at times, we have also been taught to even cause the change at times. And how do you cause change is to sit back and criticize your own, what you have done, disrupt it, build it, and rebuild it again.
Hello, friends. Welcome to another exciting episode of Ready Next. My guest today is Yinka Adeyinka. Yinka has been at the forefront of customer experience transformation for well over 2 decades. He is the founder and CEO of Avetium Consult Limited, a leading business technology and outsourcing firm that is redefining industry standards across the continent of Africa. Prior to this, Yinka was senior manager of online customer assistance at MTN, overseeing one of Africa's largest call centers for the continent's #1 telecoms brand, and that's MTN. He was serving over 60 million customers. Yinka is also a thought leader specializing in customer experience and the digital transformation economy. I'm especially excited about this conversation because it will provide us an amazing opportunity to dive into the unique moment in time that we're experiencing. And we're having, the twin forces of automation and AI providing a clear edge, to many businesses and no doubt also to customer experience management. Without further ado, let me welcome my guest. Yinka, you are welcome to Ready Next.
Thank you so much, Tosin. Thanks for this great opportunity. It's nice to see you. It's nice to meet with you. And you've said it all. So, I look forward to engaging with you to share knowledge and to share experiences as well. Thank you very much.
Fantastic. Thanks and welcome once again. Let's jump right in and maybe we start from the beginning or towards the beginning. I love to get into a good origin story. And one of the things that would excite me to hear is what led you to consulting? What led you to technology? Tell us a little bit about your journey to get into where you are today.
Yeah, interestingly, my background, it's actually in accounting. Interestingly, I started my career in accounting and so well grounded in accounting. But in the course of my journey, when I joined MTN, and that was when I had a stint of customer management, supporting customer. And I always tell people that all I've done in my life, because in my 30-year career, I've managed customer for about over 25, almost 25 years of them.
Wow.
Because Avetium is almost 9 years and I was in MTN for almost 15 years. So that's what I've done all my life. And I've managed customers, supported customers through different channels, different types of customers as well, be it individual, be it corporate. Interestingly, I tell people that it was in the course of supporting corporate customers that I met my wife.
Oh,
Interestingly,
wow.
someone said to me that he loves the kind of job that I do, that you can even get a wife on it. Yeah, understand. So, so it was in the course of that so it's been a very interesting journey to me. And so that's how I had the opportunity to support corporate customers when I was in MTN. And from there, that's what I've been doing. And through different channels, through the digital channels, the non-digital channels, the walk-in, the shops, the service centers and everything. So I've had the experience of supporting customers all my career.
That's amazing. That's amazing, Yinka. It's interesting to hear that it's such a beautiful career that it even gave you the gift, of meeting your wife, your other half. And I think it's amazing when you've had such a long, steady, strong career. And I wanted to kind of make a connection between some of that experience and how it prepared you to actually launch your own brand and your own business. So a decade and a half at MTN, what were the learnings, what were the takeaways that helped you kind of have that firm grounding to start your own business?
Yeah, so I think it's a combination of couple of things. Number one is that I've always thought about having my own business, being in the driver's seat. And there are a couple of things that pushed me into this journey. Number one was the fact that I had a wise saying that if you jump from a cliff and you're not going to be as hot as somebody pushing you without you knowing that you're going to have to jump. So in the course of my career, I've been saying to myself that I want to live on my own terms. I don't want somebody to tell me there's a restructuring and we're sorry you have to go and all those that. That's number one drive for me. Number two is the fact that I saw a lot of opportunity in the market. It's very easy for you to sit comfortably in a multinational company and a lot of contractors, vendors, providers, service providers are coming around, you cross your leg, you tell them to do this. We're making them better, by criticizing what they bring because of the exposure that we have and all those stuff. And they come back to you 2 years after and you're amazed at the improvement they've achieved. And you have no option other than to give them the business. So I'm saying to myself that is this I'm going to just sit down and just continue to enrich other people. And then coupled with the fact that I feel that if you don't leave at the time that you can still be useful for yourself, then by the time you're leaving, you might just not be able to do a lot of things. So the older we become, the more advanced we are to risk taking. And so I thought about so many things and I'm like, I think I was ready to take the risk. At that point in time, if anything, if it didn't go the way I thought, I could still fall back rather than the time that there was no other option for me. So, and I trusted God and God backed me up and the rest is story today. So
That's
there are
amazing.
lots of opportunities. If I look back at my business plan that I wrote before I left MTN, I think I'm just probably, I've barely scratched the surface. Yeah. So there's still lots of things, lots of opportunities. But businesses also go through maturity. When I started, I was running all around trying to do as many things. But as the business grows, it gets more matured, and then you start focusing on that which you think your strength is in. So that's what has happened to me in terms of career, and I've received a lot of support from family and friends, and then from all other people that I've encouraged as well.
That's fantastic. I mean, you tell a very, very comprehensive story about how people should even think about their career span. Already a lot of pearls of wisdom in there. I like the fact that you made the jump when, let's put it this way, when the applause was loudest and no one was pushing you to do it, but you thought, if I have to go, I'll do it on my own terms. I like the narrative around how we should think about different phases of one's life. You don't want to get to a time when your strength is failing and you're still full of ideas. A wise man once said, if you go to the graveyard, you'll find a lot of wisdom and purpose, but it's all buried underground, and you also mentioned about learning from some of the clients and partners and vendors, and seeing what they were doing and how resilient they were and how that kind of inspired you as well. I think a lot of fantastic pearls of wisdom there. I'm seeing that we're in a very interesting time. We are having to grapple with a lot of change. The world is shifting rapidly, whether it's AI, whether it's, automation and digitization. New business models are coming up by the day. I wanted to just get your sense of what qualities we think leaders, especially in the customer experience space, need to have and to cultivate to stay ahead rather than let themselves be overtaken by this wave of change.
Yeah. Thank you very much for that question. I think the first thing is for you to have a positive outlook to change itself. Change is something that there's nothing you can do about it. It's going to come. So I was lucky to have worked under some brilliant people that have told me that, we all know this story of it's a function of how you view a bottle. Is either half empty or half full? Yeah. So I am wired or have been trained to see opportunities in every disruption that happens. I tell people that even look at what happened during COVID, that the rich got richer. And
Yeah.
I came across people that said that that was the time that their business thrived so well, so much. So for me, I always tell people that money doesn't disappear from the surface of the earth whenever things go wrong or things happen. It only moves from some people's hand to some other people's hand because
Yeah.
needs will always be there. There will always be need to be met. There will always be ways to improve on things. So I think for leaders, they have a positive outlook to change. Number two is that they must envisage change. Most times, when you allow change to catch you flat footed, then it means you're not prepared for it. So you must be prepared for change. You must envisage change. And at times, we have also been taught to even cause the change at times. Do you
Mm.
understand? So you should even cause the change. And how do you cause change? Is to sit back and criticize your own, what you have done, disrupt it, build it, and rebuild it again. So for me, that's what I would say, that disruptions will come, changes will come. Though how do we position ourselves? So that's why you see organizations, especially depending on the field that you are in, they always have a set of people that are constantly looking at better ways of doing things. Because the truth is that all the big companies that have gone under were once great, were once like nothing was going to happen to them. And
Yeah.
and that's where innovation and change and all those things come in. So one of the things I tell my team is that we get better by customers' feedback. We get better by how we respond to feedback. There is no customer that is crazy. I mean, irrespective of how a customer responds or asks for some things, it might appear unrealistic, unreasonable, but the customer is probably saying something to you. Because if that customer is thinking like that, trust me, there are so many other customers thinking like that as well. So ability to see things that way, ability to have that positive outlook and embrace that disruption that is likely to come and at times force it, it's what will stand you out and ensure that you can stand that test of time. What happens is that oftentimes we get carried away by the momentary success that we achieve. We get bogged down by the operations, we get bogged down by so many things. But there are some other people thinking, looking at your gaps and trying to make sure they improve on it. And then before you know it, the cheese will have to move if you
Mm.
don't.
Cheese
So
will have to
that's
move.
that. Yeah. So I mean, it's never going to be with you forever and ever. So I think it's something that is important to make sure that you have a positive outlook to change. Make sure you are prepared for it, and at times even cause the change, and then make sure that your team, everybody is ready for change. So I don't see change irrespective of whether it's coming from government, whether it's external, whether it's internal. I maintain a positive outlook to it. And the
That's
other thing
amazing.
is that I don't worry about things that I cannot influence. I don't worry about them. Rather, I manage it, take a positive outlook at it, look at the better ways for me to take advantage of that situation and then move forward. That's what I do. That's what I will advise the leaders to do.
I think you've spoken like a true entrepreneur. You've talked about various dimensions of change from, at least, at the very least, expect that change is coming because change is constant, then prepare for it. And beyond preparing for it, you talk about a concept that I think a lot of people struggle with, which is cause the change, be the instigator of the change, disrupt yourself. And I like how you paint the picture of customers and when they have complaints and they require redress or they require some kind of relief from the client or from the vendor. I wanted to ask you to give us some nuggets from your your experience about the different things you've seen from the customer side, managing customer experience. You spoke about there's no bad customer, but at the same time, you have to know how to manage complaints, issues as they arise. So give us a view from sort of the edge of the seat of a senior executive in customer experience management. What are the things we should keep in mind when aiming to create great customer experience for, say, a large corporate organization?
All right. So number one is people must understand that customer experience is different from customer support or customer service. I think it's very important we understand that, and the difference is simply because when we say something is experience, it means you can also create it. It means it's something that is going to stick to you. It's something that is meant to last your lifetime. It's something that it's going to also be practical, demonstrative as well. So when you talk about customer experience for large organizations, I think it's important people understand that you have to build your customer journey first. Customer journey is very important, and it starts from how customers engage you. Research has shown that organizations are living things that have five senses as well. In terms of ability for organizations to see, organizations to hear, organizations to smell, to feel. So if you look at an organization from that perspective, you will realize that then you need to start designing what we call your customer journey mapping. Do you understand? You need to map your customer journey from the perspective that, if you look at your product, how do you want people to even come across your product? So it starts from your marketing communications. It starts from the fact that what is the buying experience that you want to create for your customers when they come in contact with your product. So when you talk about buying experience, then you have to think about the channel. You have to think about the convenience of buying the product. You have to make sure that the processes are there. There's no perfect process anywhere all over the world. So ability for you to envisage the possible points of failures and to make sure that you pick it up as quickly as possible to fix it, turn it around, make it a moment of truth for every customer. So it's very important. So you map your buying experience, all the touch points, and then you move to the user experience. They understand, because after customers have bought the product, what you want them to do is to use the product. And when they use the product or the service, what's going to happen? How do you monitor their usage? Are you able to know the experience at the point of usage? That's also very important. And then, just like I said, that there's no perfect system. When they use the product and they need you to support them, it might not be a problem with the product, but they probably need to know something better about the product. So how would you support them? And that's where you talk about the support experience as well. And now supporting experience must also be standardized, because customers can talk to you. You can determine where customers are, how they want to talk to customers. They are king, like we say. So they can decide. So you must also make sure that you have the opportunity to support your customers from all possible channels, like voice to non-voice channel, and then be sure that you are ready to provide an omni-channel experience for the customer, because they can arrive for this support at any point in time from wherever. And then you move to ensuring that you have a closed loop feedback mechanism in place, whereby for every support that you render to these customers, you are able to see it as a form of gap. Do you understand? What could you have done better? What did you do? What did you not do? And make sure you close that loop to make sure that the feedback is given to the right people internally. Because when you engage with customers from a support point of view, like they say, feedback is golden. So that's a way of getting feedback from the customer. So it's either that your product is doing very well, or the product has a bit of areas of improvement. And when you talk about these areas of improvement, the areas of improvement can be internal. So you can now look at it. Is it around the product creation, or is it around anything technical? Or is it something that's got to do with the communication to the customers? Have you overpromised and under-delivered to the customers? Just like I keep saying that customers, when they complain, they know what they are saying. So if a customer is unable to use your products because he's not been able to know how to set it up and everything, perhaps you are communicating wrongly to them. You've not made it so simple. And oftentimes it's very difficult for us to put ourselves in the shoes of the customers because we created those products. So we see it as it's easy, but you need someone else to do it. So ability to make sure that you build your customer experience along all these touch points, all these experiences, it's something that is very important. I mean, I always advise organizations. Unfortunately, most organizations pay lip service to customer experience because they're not able to walk the talk. There are very few organizations that you see recognition being given to the customer experience up to the C level. Most of the time, they put them under operations. They just put them in some, which they're not walking the talk. This is on sales. Everybody focuses on marketing. Everybody focuses on some other things, forgetting the fact that the people that hire all of us in the organizations are actually the customers. So it's important that we understand this. So organizations that give priority, where you have positions like chief customer experience officers, you'll realize that is different for them. And the other thing I advise organizations to do, which I know by experience we've done in my own previous places, to empower and give independence to that position up to the extent that it's one of the ways for you to show as an organization that you're putting customers first. Nothing gets done before unless the customer experience team approves it, especially when it's going to impact the customer. So when you do that, then you tend to give everybody the opportunity that, I mean, nothing happens to your customers. There's nothing that is more important to you more than your customers. So, and it's a continuous journey. It's not a journey that ends in one day. It's something that is going to be continuous. You get better with it. You continue to improve on the processes, the technology, and that's what I will advise in that case.
Customers don't wait anymore. Your team is drowning in scattered conversations, and nothing seems to work. Every delay costs trust. Every missed interaction, a lost opportunity. This isn't just a bad day. It's what happens when customer experience falls behind customer expectations. Imagine a contact center where every channel just works together effortlessly. That's the power of Adeyinka Contact Center as a service, a robust cloud-based solution, your gateway to smarter and seamless customer engagements. One platform for all your interactions, get real-time insights and AI-powered tools that guide faster, smarter, and more personal support. Now you can engage customers on their preferred channels. Our solution is trusted across industries, efficient, reliable, and built on a secure network.
That's brilliant. I mean, you've delivered a masterclass in one breath about customer experience and customer service. You spoke about, how CX is different from customer service, and it's just an element of the whole picture. And you speak about customer journey and, going from buyer intent, all the way to even when they have issues and helping them resolve it. But then you also speak about the position or the primacy that should be given to customer experience within organizations. I really, really like that. I think that you can identify winning organizations by the way they treat their customer experience strategy. I think it was Jeff Bezos of Amazon that famously always will keep a chair empty in every meeting and will say, this chair is for the customer, and they're so obsessed at Amazon about the customer experience and the customer journey that has differentiated them as a brand, which takes me to my next question. My next question is about how a leader like yourself will balance the tension between stability and innovation. What is working is already stable, is business as usual, but then things happening at the edge of change, whether it's innovation around technology, innovation around new practices to transform the business internally or to transform clients' businesses. How do you balance that tension as a leader?
All right. Thanks very much for the question. So from my own understanding, I think they actually complement each other. When you talk about stability and innovation, and they complement each other, I think the moment you have one, you need to start thinking of the other one as well, because stability, they are temporary states, if I can use that word, because just when you think you are stable, something goes wrong, and then you have to start looking at
Oh,
how to
yes.
it as well. Some people also say that, I mean, they don't want to fix what is not broken, but the truth is that for how long is it not going to be broken? I mean, it's just a matter of time as well. So unless it's not being used. So stability and innovation is something that I feel they work hand in hand. And there's two things that an average organization needs from time to time. So stability can be achieved from in your processes, and the maturity of your product, your customers' understanding as well. But just like I said earlier on, that there are some, no matter how good you are, customers are who customers are. They want new things at times. It's not because what you are giving them is not working. It's not because it's not meeting their need, but they just want new things. And we've seen that over the years as well, that at a point in time, Netflix kicked out the Buster film.
Yes. Blockbusters. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Blockbuster films. You understand? So look at what happened to Nokia phones and everything. So it wasn't as if they were not meeting the need, but gradually people just needed some other things. In Nigeria, for example, DSTV, I think, didn't respond quickly to the content drive, and look at where they are now struggling. So that's why they say innovate or die. Do you understand? So ability for you to understand that you are stable, for your stability is just for a time. I mean, disruption is going to come. And that's why I said that at times it's good for you to even be the one leading and causing that disruption before somebody else causes it, because it's going to come anyway.
Very true.
So that's what I would say around that stability. So stability, I mean, it's good. It brings confidence. It drives innovation. It gives you the relevance. You protect your existing customers, but then you have to learn how to disrupt your business. And then after disrupting it, pilot it, learn it, scale it, you understand, and then move forward. So you must be in a constant state of readiness for disruption. You understand? Because stability is only for a while. And some other guys are going to come, they are thinking about how to move that cheese away from you. So I think if one has that mentality, they understand. So, I mean, there's a bit of caution to it, because at times I look at myself in my own world there, and I tell my team that at times they should just bear with me, that it's as if I have brainwave at times, because it's as if something is chasing you, an imaginary thing, making you look at it. There is a better way. There is a better way. And if you don't, they bear the brunt of that, unfortunately, because it's almost like, come back, can we do it better? Come back, can we do it better? So constantly thinking about the better ways to do things, it's also very, very good. So stability is good, but I think innovation also complements it.
Yeah, I think one of the key things that you said about stability that's like so poignant is stability is a temporary state. I love that statement because it's so true. You can't sit or rest on your laurels. You have to, like you rightly said, always disrupt yourself. I can't count already how many times you've used the word disrupt in this conversation, and I think it's fantastic. And I wanted to go to a place around building teams and building resources. How do you build a team and foster a culture that is both agile and resilient and is able to deal with disruption that you're speaking about? How do you build that kind of team? How have you built that kind of team?
Yeah. So to be honest with you, I always tell everybody that there are three different kind of people in organizations. You have the people that are making things happen. Then you have the next set of people that can make things happen on Monday, but not make things happen on Tuesday. They are jumping in between. And then you have some people that are totally disconnected. They understand from the organization. So everybody is not going to move at the same time. They understand. So your ability to also make sure you get a larger number of people to be engaged. So I got a lot of knowledge and wisdom from the book of the success of Netflix. where the book that No Rule Rules. And yeah, they took a lot of decisions. They did a lot of things that didn't make sense to a lot of people, but I think it worked. So in as much as I know that those things can also be localized, I mean, you've got to make sure that, I mean, you put it in the right context in every environment where you are. But there are lots of things to learn from it. So for me, I already conditioned my mind that, okay, what percentage of my workforce do I need to buy into my vision to drive the whole things forward? So the more I get the larger number of people to be in that percentage, the better for the business. Then number two is the fact that if I'm struggling with that, I need to step back and say to myself that, am I the one communicating the vision wrongly, or am I going about it the wrong way? As a leader, it's not quick to think your people are the problem, because oftentimes that's the easiest thing to do, really. Yeah, I understand. So you need to take responsibility and step back, because and then make sure that you are communicating rightly to them. Then number three is the fact that you probably also need to look at the hiring process to make sure that you're getting the right people in. And oftentimes, entrepreneurs, and we don't have that patience, unfortunately, at times. So we always want people with short learning curve. And that's also another area of challenge. So you got to look at the onboarding process, the hiring process. How much time do you, yeah, that you have to make sure that you give to people. But beyond all that is that you need resilient people. Agility is one of the um, brand values that we have as a business. And trust me, if there's nothing else that I've said to a lot of people in my environment, I've said so many things about it. If you come to our office, we have it branded agility. Everybody needs to know, because it's very important for you to be agile. And agility to me is a mindset. It's a mindset that you need to have as an individual about things. At times, I think that I don't want people to mistake the fact that agility is not about being in a hurry to do things. Is about having the subconscious that, number one, you're not the only one that the customer is talking to. You haven't got the whole time in the world. Number two is that, there are so many other people thinking about it. Research has shown that if you have an idea and you don't implement it in 6 months, somebody else will implement it. That's the truth. And, so if you have all these things in your subconscious, it drives you to make sure that you do things the way you should do. And I have some mindset that everybody's not going to agree to what I want to do all the time. That's just the truth.
This is true.
I'm not going to wait for the whole world to say yes before I move on. They understand. So I've got to move. I've got to make the hay when the sun shines. And I've redefined failure in my own dictionary, and especially in this part of the world where we were brought up with the wrong understanding of failure. For me, a failure is something that you never attempted to do as well, at all. So for me, if people say that you've tried something and it has not achieved the desired outcome or result, that means you've learned how not to do it, not that you've learned failed. For me, and I think ability to encourage that is also something that is very important. That the person that fails in my own dictionary is somebody that never made an attempt to do anything. But if you have made an attempt to do something and it has not achieved the desired result, it only means that you have learned how not to do it, not that you have not learned anything. So to be honest with you, Tosin, it's something that is very important. Another thing is to make sure that you don't lose the consciousness of these little wins that you have. Celebrate yourself, look back. Unfortunately, I tell people that every time that we're doing our quarterly performance review, I tell people, I start by saying that, okay, this is where we have said we should be. We are not there. But before I close, I always say that we are not also where we used to be. So I try to balance it. It's very important for us. Johnny Walker says that we must keep working, no matter how. So
That
it's
is
very
so true.
important. So we must strike that balance to let people understand that even though we are not where we thought we should be, but we also know where we used to be. So it's very important. Celebrate your team, celebrate the little win, encourage them, make sure you get as much right people onto the larger percentage of people that are driving the vision of the organization, understanding it. Make sure take a step back as a leader to make sure you're communicating appropriately to the people. Yes.
Amazing, amazing. I mean, it take two things from that. You spoke about the spectrum of your team, and this is so true. I have also led teams large and small, and continue to lead teams in my business, and I see that people come in a spectrum. There are those that will be so engaged and be the heartbeat of the business, and then there are those that sometimes they deliver at 110%, and sometimes they deliver at 25%, and you're wondering what's going on. And then there are
Exactly.
just some that just they're just pedaling along, and you say just manage them. I think that is an interesting insight that it happens everywhere. You just need to know how to manage that kind of complexity within teams. But also you speak about self-reflection as a leader. And I think it's so powerful because a lot of times people place all of the blame and all of the issues at the feet of their staff. But you're saying, as a leader, you also have to step back and you have to review what's going on and assess what's going on. I think that is so powerful that I wanted to ask another question around, team dynamics and the kind of voices. Now it's about diversity of thought in teams, the kind of voices in your team, the kind of different perspectives in teams. Is it important to have a team that's diverse? Diverse not just in terms of gender roles or the normal sort of diversity metrics, but in terms of what they bring to the table, those who are critical thinkers versus those who are creative thinkers and such kinds of things. Is that important to have a mix in a team?
It's very, very important to have in a team and even the larger organization as well. And what I say as a leader is that the higher you go in the spectrum of leadership, the more you should develop your listening skills, because that's how you'll be able to see those things. And you've got to also make sure that you sit back to be the last person that speak most of the time, because when you first of all speak, everybody may want to toe your line, and then you understand. So
Yes.
these are things. So, but it's very important to have people with diverse names. And as a leader, there are questions that you also can ask that can bring those divergent opinions out. Because most of the time, what I say to people is that the question I'm asking you, there's no right or wrong answer. Yeah, understand. It's only a function of perspective. Just like what we say that, when I point about three fingers to you, some people might say three. So it depends on the side that you are seeing things. So it doesn't mean that it's wrong. So I think as an organization, one of the things we must strive to do is to, first of all, create that environment where people can speak, where people are comfortable to be challenged, where people are comfortable to know that whatever they say is not going to be viewed in a wrong way, and to, also encourage cross-functional thinking. Because whether we like it or not, organizations, teams also fight each other in a way that the organization benefits from it eventually. It's a way of, it's a unitary force that it diffuses. Exactly. So the organization is meant to. And what I say to my team at times is that as a leader, I have a way of, almost knowing what the truth is from every team. Do you understand? Because they all look at things from their own perspective. The way a finance person looks at things is different from the way the technology team will look at it, is different from the way HR will look at it, is different from the way the customer support people will look at things. And so ability for you to look at all these things, the way they've said it, the way they are contributing to it, will give you a well-informed decision as a leader as well. So it's something that is very, very important. Everybody can't just see things from the same perspective. So and it's a positive force for me. So when you talk about diversity, so diversity of opinion, it helps you to see things from a different prism. It makes you to see, it creates even opportunities at times. It creates opportunities that you never thought about at times. It tells you about your hidden strength as a business. You understand? It
Yes.
tells you about your blind spots as a leader as well. So,
Yes.
so ability to put all these things together and be able to see that, wow, So this is where we should be going as a business. I think it's a good thing to make sure that you have such people. And that's why most of the time in our own organization, we make sure that we form little committee to drive things so that everybody can bring different perspective to how that thing should be done.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you for that. In your work, how do you, shifting back to technology now for a little bit, how do you identify, emerging technologies and which ones will matter the most? Things are changing at such a rapid pace that what you thought was, top shelf yesterday, is now sort of somewhere behind the league. How do you identify those? And have you got, at least one example for us? I think earlier you mentioned about Nokia, and I was just remembering the days when, if you didn't have a Nokia, you didn't have a phone. But things have moved on quite a bit from there. So how do you identify emerging technology?
Yeah. So for us, I mean, there are different ways to imagine to identify emerging technology. I think one of the things is for us to look at it from a demographic point of view. The truth is that the people that we have working now as the working class people that are in their early 20s and mid, like 25 and co, are people that never knew what life was without computer. They understand. Not, they
have no
don't know what
idea.
it means. Exactly. And then the one coming after them are people that never knew what life is now without social media. They understand. So,
Yes.
so ability for us to understand the differences in all these demography is also something that is very, very important for us to know that there are going to be disruptions. You and I probably maybe worked when laptops were just being introduced and everything, but these people
Yes.
are working with their phone. And so all these things must have a way of feeding into how we engage, how we design our products, how we design our processes, how we design the engagement that we have. I went to an hospital this morning to just have I mean, I got there and they told me that, okay, you want to see a doctor? Okay, just scan that QR code and fill the form. Oh, okay. It's
Wow.
okay. Yeah, I understand. So, before, maybe if they are brought out, somebody will sit behind the laptop or computer and be typing in my name.
Or
I
a
mean,
paper form.
exactly, or paper, all those kind of
Yeah.
things. So,
Yeah.
so you can see that things have changed. So I had to register myself. That's self-service. Yeah, I understand. I have to register myself, typed in my name and everything, got a notification immediately that everything is correct and everything. And then before you know it, moved on to the next stage. And from every desk that I was moving, they were just asking me about my card number, and that's what they were using to treat me. So you can imagine that experience is different from maybe some years ago that if anybody had told anyone, my father of blessed memory, that things like this will happen, he would say, no, it's not possible. You understand? So
True.
I think ability for us to see that is also something that is very, very important, especially in the field where we are. You understand? So we are
Yes.
more than willing and we are ready to pioneer a lot of things. We look for opportunities, we look for gaps. There was a question that somebody asked me recently that because we also have the technology solution part of our business, which
Right. Yes.
brings in a whole lot of innovation where we look for the products that we sell, we look at the gaps that they have, and then we try to make sure that we come up with some products that can, fill that gap as well. So it's something that we do. It's something that we are very excited about doing. They understand, because at the end of the day, we know that customers' requests and needs are changing on a daily basis as well. So that's something that we do with all sense of humility on our own side. So imagine technology is going to be there. Things are going to be changing. And we also have a standard way of making sure that we bring all these things on board in terms of the standard product development life cycle. You understand, from the concept stage to making sure that it goes through the curation, it goes through the ideation and everything, and then make sure that you nurture them through start introducing them from a pilot point of view, have some kind of friendly user test, create some community, make sure they use it, and then before you go to the big bang way. So it's something that we drive in our own environment as well.
Another customer gone. Not because your products weren't great, but because your system couldn't keep up. You're stuck with receipts, out of sync inventory, and payments that just won't reconcile. It's not your fault. Meet Avetune POS, a smart cloud-based point of sale system that brings everything into one place. Sales, inventory, payments, reports, all synced in real time. Track every sale, manage stock, reward loyal customers, all from one intuitive dashboard. Whether you operate a supermarket, a healthcare franchise, or a retail chain, Avetune POS scales with you as your business expands and syncs seamlessly across branches for consistency and efficiency. Sell smarter, faster, and with ease. Schedule a free demo session with us today. Visit www.avetuneconsults.com or send a mail to sales@avetuneconsults.com. Start with Avetune POS today.
That's amazing. I like the fact that you also speak about the process of even embedding new technology. It's not just enough to identify this is a new one that we would have on our stables. There's also how do you bed it in with the end customer, and that process that you eloquently described makes perfect sense. And we're starting to gradually wrap up this conversation. About one or two more questions, and I like to do something on this podcast, which is our calling card, which is looking ahead. The podcast is called Ready Next. We look at what's happening now, but we also want to have one foot in the future, So when you look ahead, are you starting to see some shifts that you think organizations should be taking sort of cognizance of now before it's too late? What are those shifts, and what are people underestimating?
Yeah, I think the jury is out already on this question that you asked. Whether we like it or not, the earlier we embrace AI, the better for all of us. I think AI is something that we can't run away from. Number two is data. Data is the new oil. There's nothing we can do about that as well. AI is going to change a lot of things. It's going to change the way we live our world. It's going to change the processes. A lot of things are just going to change. So AI is something that is the big change that we are all embracing now. So now, I always try to situate it in the context of the environment, because let's call a spade a spade. There will always be localization. Tropicalization is something. I mean, AI in China is different from AI in America, is different from AI in Nigeria. So we also trying to situate things in the context of our markets as well. So, but it's just a matter of time. It's going to catch up with us. And the way the adoption is going to come is also going to, one way or the other, disrupt the market as well. Then in terms of data, AI is the foundation for AI is data itself. You understand? Without data, there is no AI. Without data, there is no AI. So because AI works based on the generated data, and somebody building some kind of behavior matrix algorithm around it, and then you can come up with some predictive analysis around it. So data is also something that is also going to, and when you combine all these things together, what it means is that there are going to be creation of new things, and then where there's going to also be the giving up of the old ways of doing things. So ability for organization to position themselves in readiness for that, it's also something that is very, very important. Ability for us to position ourselves in readiness for all these things, both from a product point of view and then from a market penetration point of view, is something that we must be ready to do as an organization. Things are going to change, whether we like it or not. Processes are going to change. New products are going to come into the market. The way we run the business is going to be different. So as an organization, we are positioning ourselves around this as well. We're not losing sight. And it goes back to some of the questions you've asked before in terms of stability and innovation. You can't have it for long.
Exactly.
So you've got to be ready for it.
You've got to be ready. Exactly. And to wrap up, I want you to speak to two audiences, young people, but also folks who are highly experienced, have spent time building a career. If you're going to talk to them about how to think differently about this time that we're in so that they can maximize it to their benefit and to thrive in this time? How would you speak to someone who is just taking those first steps in their career, but also those who are actually at the forefront, at the helm, the likes of yourself? What should they be doing now in order to thrive in today and tomorrow?
Yeah, so I think one thing that is common to the two sets of people or two categories of people that you have asked me is that number one is the disposition, is how you receive things that are going to change. Change is going to happen it's going to happen and it's going to affect the young, it's going to affect the old. Now, what determines the survivors? What determines the people that are going to move forward? It's your position. How do you see it? Are you waiting for it to happen, or are you trying to bring it on yourself, or are you trying to cause it to happen? So the young people, because of the age on their side, they can afford to still make one or two mistakes and still quickly correct themselves and move forward. But unfortunately, the older generations don't have much time on their own side. So, so for me, I think the mindset is something that is very important. And then number two is also to make sure that we embrace it, we adopt it. We shouldn't think that it's just for certain class of people. So I was at an event about last month where I spoke, and one of the questions that somebody asked was that AI is not for the old people, it's just for the young people. And one of the things I say is that whether you like it or not, it's coming on you as well.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do, because there's going to come a time where you have no choice other than to make sure that you embrace it. So I think the mindset is something that is very, very important to these two sets of categories of people that you have enumerated this morning. And then lastly, for me, is the fact that the young people are coming at an interesting time. We can't blame them for that. So what I've said in terms of data and everything, the way they work, the way they think. So I think they have the opportunity to maximize their potentials, especially with new things coming on board. And, that's where the ethical aspect of all these things that we are talking about comes in as well. We must also be able to make sure that we look at the ethical side of things as well. So that, you see, I grew up with the impression and with the understanding that when things, you have bad things in good things, you have good things in bad things. There's no way you can do about it. So when nations are developing, they develop both in good things and bad things. So there's a whole lot of scare out there about AI. I'm not sure there's anything we can do about it. We just have to mitigate it. We have to manage it in such a situation. That's what I would say for the older people. I think as much as possible, don't be a roller coaster. Just make sure you participate. It's a moving train. You understand? So you've got to try to join it and understand it as well.
That's amazing. I think on that fantastic note, I want to say a huge thank you to you, Yinka, for coming on the podcast. It brings us to the end of this wonderful, insightful episode. Thank you for sharing your insights, your experience, and your energy with us. To our listeners, stay tuned. I will see you next time for another exciting episode of Ready Next. Thank you. Thank you, Yinka.
Thank you very much, Tosin. Thanks for the opportunity, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you.